everybody. Welcome back to my garage. Welcome back to my workshop. Today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be moving forward with part 2 of my scratch builds. I'm doing 2 guitars at once. What I've got so far, I've put up the video already. I've got the body blanks glued up with the tops glued on. Still got a route to final shape. I haven't done that yet because I wanted to set up the router and just do everything at once. Then I've also got my neck blanks, multi-laminate, maple, walnut, and maple. Got them planed down. I've planed them down. I've checked them to make sure with the straight edge along the surface where the fretboard's going to be. That is nice and flat on both the neck blanks. So basically what's ready to do is put my neck profile, or trace out my neck profile, mark the center line, get all that set, get set where the nut's going to be, so I can route for the truss rod, and then move forward with the rest of the neck. Get the neck shaped out, the initial shaping out, get the fretboard installed. I'm going to be doing one neck right now and another neck in a couple days. So after everything dries, because I just don't have 36 clamps to clamp everything together. These are going to get Birdseye maple fretboards on them. They are 25.5-inch scale, and the fretboards are, it's going to be 24 frets on it. So that is a little bit of work there. It's going to be a 12-inch radius. What we're going to do now is just start rolling forward. We're going to get the center lines marked. Get the initial profile traced out on the neck, get everything marked and measured where I need it to be, and then we'll get it to the bandsaw and then to the router. Okay, here I'm just making sure I've got the center line on the center of the middle block, so I can base everything off of that moving forward. Just tracing the neck profile or the neck outline onto the blank. Marking the nut line, and here I'm just making sure the nut is straight across both sides using the protractor. Then lining that up, I trace the side profile of the neck onto the body blank so I can have that in reference to cut it out. Here I am just routing the truss rod channel in. This takes several passes. I only show a couple here, and this is sped up footage. But I took probably about 7 passes to make sure, taking just a little bit out each time just to make sure I didn't go too deep into the neck to where the truss rod was nice and snug. Here I'm just cutting the headstock angle in so I can plane that down and have it flat. Alright, so I've got the truss rod slot cut, I've got the headstock angle cut in, and I've got the neck outline marked on the top and on the side. A flame maple fretboard is going on this one. So I've got it thickness down. I've got a couple small divots in the top from where my planer took a little chunk out with the maple, but that'll go just fine when I go to sand it and radius the fretboard. Those will disappear. I've got the back flat and ready and prepped and ready to go. So what I'm going to do now is just get on the bandsaw. I'm going to cut the rough shape of the neck out to where it'll sit flat. I'm going to leave all this bottom on. Then I'm going to that way I can glue the fretboard on and have a good clamping call. And now I'm just cutting the side bits off the neck to get it ready. Here I'm cutting the fret slots. This is using the Stumac fret cutting jig. Basically you have the fretboard down on that template and you move it through, and it's got little notches that you move it to and locks it in. Then you clamp it down and cut the fret slots. Today's day 2 of getting the neck and the body straightened out for my guitar builds. Yesterday I did manage to get most of the neck profiled out, the truss rod cut in. I've got the fretboard, fret locations cut, fret slots cut, and today what we'll be doing is getting this down to size and roughed out, and getting the fretboard actually glued onto the blank. I've just got it clamped on right now just to keep it on there, make sure it stays straight and everything. And here I'm just cutting the getting the neck ready. I'm cutting the back of it off of the headstock. You'll notice I've added a little piece on top there. That's to cover the little piece of the point coming off of the headstock shape. And now I'm just cutting the material off the back of the neck to get it more in line with in the shape that I want it to be in before I start to carve it. And now I'm just cutting the headstock shape in. You'll notice I've put a piece of wood underneath. That's just so I can run the headstock through and keep it flat, just to help me guide it through and cut it. Plus, having that little bit extra underneath there keeps it from tearing out on the backside when you're not up against the table. What I'm doing now is just getting ready to route the neck to shape, so I'm just using some super glue and masking tape to hold the neck template on. And then I'll run it through my router to bring the neck blank down to shape of the template. Here I'm just rough shaping the fretboard, cutting off the excess on the outsides. Still leaving enough to where I can plane it flat against the neck blank once it's all together. Now what I'm doing is I'm clamping the neck on dry, or clamping the fretboard on dry, and I'm going to drill 2 guide pins, one at the 1st fret and one at like the 23rd fret, right in the fret slot using a 1/16 inch drill bit, drilling down, and then I'm going to put toothpicks in. That way when I go to put the fretboard on and glue it, it won't move. This helps to ensure that the fretboard stays centered on the center line of the neck. Check to verify that it is still centered. Now I'm just putting a little bit of tape over the truss rod so glue doesn't get down in the truss rod channel. You can leave the tape on or you can pull it off. I actually left it on this one, just to make sure none of the glue goes down into the channel. And then using the guide pins that I had, reinstall the fretboard and then clamp it down. Make sure you check along the edges to make sure you got a good glue joint all the way down. The position of your clamps can impact it a little bit. It may pull more to one side than the other when you clamp it down, so you just want to verify that you're doing good. You can never have enough clamps. Here it is afterwards. I'm just routing the edge of the fretboard now to the edge of the neck. You'll notice I've got a template on the bottom. That's just for spacing because the bit I'm using on my router doesn't go any lower than that. As I'm profiling the fretboard here, this took a lot of sanding. I went with 80 grit and then finished off with 320 grit to give it a nice polish on top. Alright everybody, I think we're going to wrap the video up here on the neck and just finish off the neck in the next video, as this one's getting kind of long. So just to kind of recap on what we covered through the video, where we got to with the neck, we got the fingerboard, radiused, and frets cut. We've got the headstock shaped. I do have the veneer ready to go on. I've got the headstock marked out on that. This will be going on in the next video so we can get the tuner holes and everything cut. We've got the truss rod cover, or the truss rod slot taken care of. On the back, what I've still got to do and what will be on the next video is I'm going to go ahead and level this area here because right now it's just a bit wavy from where I cut it on the bandsaw. So I've got it marked on the, I'll mark it on the sides where I want it to, and I'll go ahead and get this leveled before we start faceting the neck and carving it over. So that's going to be on the next video, as well as fret markers and getting the neck fretted and ready to go. So that's what's going to be on the next video. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go ahead and wrap this video up. Please click like and subscribe if you like what I'm doing, and if you want to continue to follow. Remember, this is one guitar out of two that I'm building, so once I get to a good stopping point on the neck and everything with this, I'll go finish that one, start working on the neck there, and we'll go from there. So until next time, thank you very much for joining. Take care.